What is up, people of the world? We just wanted to pop in real quick and let you know if you live in the Los Angeles area or are visiting the Los Angeles area, next Wednesday, July 10th, Hal and I are going to be joining some of our friends, specifically Annie Savage and Janet Varney, improvising, and Brandon Reynolds and Steven Jackson for a live show at the Elysian Theater called Journos, a stream of consciousness news show.
They're going to be reading actual news stories. Then we are going to improvise based off of that. We're going to go back and forth. It's going to be a great time. The only way to see this is live next Wednesday, July 10th, 7:30 p.m. at the Elysian Theater. You can get your tickets right now, so you don't have to worry about getting them at the door by going to ElysianTheater.com. That's ELYSIAN and theater with an ER.com.
That's right. How often are you going to see riffs on news stories and then yet more news stories based on those riffs, with improvisers stealing those news stories to do our thing? It will be an enlightening evening of truth and its consequences. So join us at the Elysian Theater, ElysianTheater.com. Get your tickets there.
Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all. Best clothing fastener.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Hi, Hal.
Hi.
How are you, buddy?
My hat.
You did.
My hat hit the microphone, and instead of turning it around, I threw it.
You usually turn your hat around like we're about to have an over-the-top Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling battle.
You know what? I'll put it on backwards right now, but in the style of I'm one of the little rascals. We're going to put on a show.
I like that. You know what? We are going to put on a show, Hal. And today we are talking clothing fasteners.
Now, who suggested this? Who in the wide world of sports could have suggested this?
Hang on. Let me find out. Hey, Annie, who suggested this? She did. Annie suggested this. We were in the car one day and
This is Annie Toe.
This is Annie Toe.
Clear, because we have had Annie Savage on the show several times.
We have had Annie Savage on the show. That's true. No, this is Annie Toe suggested this topic. We were in the car one day. She was like, this would be a good topic for you guys. And I was like, how have we not done that yet? And I texted you and you were like, I'm sure we've done this one already. And it turns out, Hal, we haven't. How have we? Right. You know why? Because neither of us sews. Do you sew?
I wish I could. I wish I could sew, and I really wish I have everything for knitting. Jennifer got it for me as a gift, and I'm so intimidated about where to start that I've complete paralysis by not even analysis. I just paralysis of pure fear of not knowing where to start.
For me, it feels like I always feel like cloth is a valuable thing, and I'm going to ruin it. You know what I mean? Like I can ruin paper. I've ruined paper my whole life, but cloth, I don't want to ruin cloth.
I want to be able to mend things.
Yeah.
I really want to be able
once we learn how to use some of these fasteners, we will be able to mend things.
Just put a button over it.
Yeah. Wait, just put a button over it like you get a stain on your shirt and you put a big oversized I like Ike button to cover up the stain?
If I have a hole in my sock, I just put on a Dukakis pin, Dukakis 88 pin. It's a picture of him in the tank. I don't know why he didn't get elected.
Yeah, with that big helmet over his head, looking like Alfred E. Newman. No, Hal, if you get a hole in your sock, you know what you do.
What?
You darn sock!
Ah, ha, ha, ha. I walked into that one.
Yep.
Took a right to the face.
Yeah. All right. So there are, by my estimation and my research, thank you to the whole internet for the research on this one. There are 5 major clothing fasteners, and there are a few clothing fasteners that I think deserve honorable mentions. And who knows, they may become dark horses that ultimately become victors in this. But should we go through them one at a time? We'll talk about them, talk about the pros and cons and our personal histories with each of them. How does that sound?
I mean, sure. Let's do it.
All right. Should I give you the list and then you tell me where you would like to start? Or do you want to go chronologically?
No. Give me groups.
All right.
I don't want to take a march through the history of. I can't take a History Channel documentary about clothing fasteners.
Well, guess what? I did multiples of them over the last, because we were going to record this episode a week ago.
Yeah.
So what did I do in the intervening week? I did deep dives into clothing fasteners,
Good
Hal.
Lord.
But the 5 major types of clothing fasteners that I think are our contenders for this episode. We have buttons, snaps, hook and eye, zippers, and Velcro. We will get to the honorable mentions later, but for right now, these are the ones that we're going to cover. Buttons, snaps, hook and eye, zippers, and Velcro. Where would you like to start?
Velcro.
Velcro. Ooh, we're going with the most modern. You really don't want to take a march through history. You want to go back to 1955. Hop in your DeLorean, Hal Lublin, because that is when Velcro was patented. Quick history, 1941. George de Mistral is out walking his dog in Switzerland. He notices burrs that have attached to his pants and to his dog. Thought to himself, I wonder if I could find some usefulness in this sort of connection. And by 1955 had patented velvet crochet or Velcro. Are you a Velcro fan?
I'm not.
No?
I'm not a Velcro fan. And here's why. I'll tell you
Okay.
why. I think this is kind of a loser as far in this category. It's fine for what it's supposed to do. Number one, if it comes apart, you think you ripped something.
Yeah.
And it can.
Yeah, the noise is a
It
big
holds,
problem.
But like, things can do it. And then sometimes it doesn't line up exactly. Even like with Keds as a kid, you had the Velcro shoes and like it didn't quite line up. That would bother me. Not out of any obsessive compulsion, but just like I wanted it to feel right. Like there's a way it goes. And if you don't do it that way, you pay the price. So like a button, a zipper, those things, as long as you have it lined up properly and the buttons are going in the right hole or the snaps are closing properly, the zipper doesn't get caught. There's only one way it can go. It can't be like wrinkled out, like looking like an inchworm moving.
Well, look, we're going to blame. This sounds like user error, Hal. For your, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you because that is a great image.
Right.
The inchworm having that little,
like Sesame Street,
like that little ridge. If you get your Velcro off by a little bit,
can't stand it. And the margin of user error is an issue there.
Yeah. Look, you mentioned the shoes. I love a Velcro closure shoe. I am lamenting a little bit that it sort of bookends life. The Velcro shoe. You have them when you're really little and then towards the end. Yeah. And that's usually when you do the Velcro shoes. I, as an adult who is smack dab in the middle, I hope, of my time on this planet, what I would like to have is those 80s Velcro sneakers that I had back in the day. They were that sort of like mesh nylon on the top with suede holding everything together, rubber bottoms, and 2 big, thick Velcro straps across the middle. Man, did I feel cool in those shoes. There are very few shoes in my life that I remember 35, 40 years later. But man, I remember those shoes and I loved them. They may have been Buster Brown's.
Oh, the Frankenstein shoes. Do you want a pair of Ruse? You remember Ruse?
No, that's what they were. They were Ruse.
Yeah, with the pocket.
With the little zipper pocket on the side. And now I'm already bringing up the other.
You could fit like a penny in there, maybe.
You could fit 2 coins in there if you had big feet.
Which, I mean, and that's, as a kid, that's like your net worth is 2 cents at any given time. You're not building a portfolio or carrying a lot of loose cash around.
No. And if you wanted to keep pennies in your shoes, just wear penny loafers. That's what they're for.
Yeah, there's room for it. That is the adult rue.
Yeah, penny loafers are the adult rues.
Yeah. Don't worry. When you're grown up, you'll still have clothing with useless pockets in it.
Oh man, I have plenty of those now, but I like Velcro. It was super hyped up.
Yeah.
And then people realized some of the downsides of Velcro, specifically the U.S. government in the military. It took the military a long time to adopt Velcro.
Right.
They first started using it in 2004. And by 2010, they had gotten rid of it.
Yeah, it's loud. Also, the fuzzy part, the hook, the loops, not the hooks.
Yeah.
That wears. It fuzzes out.
Yes. The loops wear. Additionally, this was a time when the U.S. military was in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan. and there is sand everywhere, and sand inside Velcro is no good.
Mm-hmm. It gets everywhere. Anakin was right.
I will say this, as a person who has spent a lot of time on stage, Velcro is super useful in the theater.
For quick changes.
Sure. I've worn many a costume that had fake buttons sewn on it that were held together with Velcro, because you just put it on, slap down the front, and there it goes. Though I used to work at the Standard, and when I worked at the Standard, our shirts closed with little Velcro squares instead of buttons.
The worst.
Yeah. Do you know what made it even worse? Is everybody knew the little trick where if you just tugged on the back center of someone's shirt, all of those Velcro buttons would go and pop open. So one of the bits that we loved to do all the time, only the guys, the women wore zip up like 1950s diner dresses. The guys wore these Velcro shirts, and the game was you go up behind somebody while they're taking an order, walk past them and just give that little tug on their shirt, and their shirt would fly open like that table was at a Chippendales show.
Yeah. So you've illustrated perfectly.
Yeah. The terror of,
Velcro's bad at its job.
It's loud. It wears out over time. I will say this about Velcro. As a clothing fastener, it's not great. Mm-hmm. Even though Time magazine in 1958 hailed it as the zipperless zipper. And in 1959, they held a fashion show that it was the talk of the town. Sure. But outside of clothing, I think that Velcro has a lot of great uses.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Bag closures. I love my bag closures that are Velcro. The fact that NASA, starting in the 60s, NASA used it to affix everything all over their spacecraft so it wouldn't go flying around in zero gravity.
Right.
It's got a lot of uses, but as a clothing fastener, not the best.
Yep. Not a winner.
Barely
an honorable mention. It's just something that exists. Give me
I want those shoes, Hal.
You can have them.
I miss those shoes.
Have your shoes. I'm sure. Look, everything that we had as kids, some adult version of us has created and sold. That's why I have Freaky Freezies or Freezy Freakies or whatever they're called. That's why I legitimately have a pair of them that I just wore in January when I was in Seattle.
Now, what are Freaky Freezies?
They have designs on the back. When it's cold, they get revealed.
Oh, these are shoes?
Temperature sensitive. No, they're gloves.
Oh, they're gloves. Oh. So this sounds like a thing that they should have been using in heist movies and treasure hunting shows.
Yeah. It's that same thing. Except instead of the hot breath, like in National Treasure, it's cold air.
It needs
activates them. That's me revealing it's on the back of my glove, but it's just cold, showing what's on the back of my glove. Oh, anyway, give me zippers.
All right. You want zippers? Yeah. All right. First, reasonably introduced in the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, but not quite the modern version that we know now. That was finally patented in 1917 after the improvements that he made. Gideon Sunback finally patented this in 1917. This was used on World War I uniforms. There was a pair of B.F. Goodrich rubber boots that first used the word zipper. And then in 1937, 20 years after it was getting functional uses in boots and military applications, it beat the button in the Battle of the Fly in France, thus solidifying its place as the best way to close your pants. Esquire magazine wrote about it, and the zipper was off to the races. Hal, are you a zipper fan?
I think zippers do a great job. Mm-hmm. For the most part. I mean, like anything, they're all, they can do the thing where it misaligns like on a hoodie or something, like a zip-up jacket where you have to there is a greater instance of you having to repair a zipper on the fly because it gets misaligned at the bottom.
You mean quickly, not in the fly part of the pants.
Correct. Like for a jacket, it's more. I'm talking a jacket. The pants, it stays where it is. Although it can come apart underneath. You can zip up and those teeth can be separated.
We all saw there's something about Mary.
Yeah, that how you get the beans above the franks. How do you even do that? The other thing about it is it's just metal on the other side. So you cannot wear zippered clothing without another protective piece of clothing underneath it to keep your body from chafing. And that is especially important in the pants.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going commando in zipper fly jeans. No, do it in your button fly jeans. Don't go commando in any jeans.
You get it bad. It will zippers are metal, and metal will rub against skin and give you blisters where you don't want them. And that's everywhere. You don't want a blister anywhere in your body.
No, I don't want a blister anywhere.
If you've never had one, if you're like one of those people who's never had one, you're like, I just want to wonder what it's, I kind of want to do it just for the experience. You don't.
Who says that about blisters? I mean, I said it about glasses, but who says that about blisters?
People who want to suck the marrow out of the bone of
what?
Life.
Wait,
you know what I was thinking halfway through that sentence?
What was that?
I was thinking about the fact that we're getting dim sum this weekend, and I got excited.
I am excited to get dim sum with you this weekend.
And the reason why is because we're going to be meeting Ben Acker there.
Yeah.
And one time, Ben Acker and I in Chicago went and got food at some place that he wanted to get food from. And it was good food, but he got like bone marrow. Mm-hmm. It was like, like a little bone canal with the bone marrow. And I tried a little bit of it, did not like it.
Yeah.
And then Virginia Corbett was there. Virginia and Bill were there. This is at C2E2.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed the marrow because she has a much more elevated palate than I do.
Did you not like the marrow partly because I think if I didn't know what it was, I would probably like it better than if I was physically scooping it out of a femur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that to me is like, I know I'm eating bone guts. Like if you took those bone guts, spread them on a cracker or something and told me it was an interesting pate, great. Maybe. But don't make me scrape my meal out of the inside of a bone.
Yeah. If I see bone marrow as part of something, I will generally not.
Yeah.
I'll skip that on the menu. It's not for me. But anyway,
dim sum is for you.
That's what went through my head. Dim sum is for me because you get to pick. Yeah. They bring you the plate and you get to say yes or no.
You know what my favorite addition to my apartment is of late?
What?
Scissors in place of a knife. And I think I first saw that at dim sum when she came by and was like, I'm going to cut up the broccoli, and pulled out a pair of scissors. And I was like, that's mead. That's for school. And no, she just, they were round tipped plastic with that real thin strip of metal in them. Yeah. Take that, Fiskars.
I told you I let a girl cut my hair with those once, right?
Oh, yes. You've mentioned that, but please tell the people of the world.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I've told that here. Yeah. A girl I had a crush on. She was like, you should get a haircut. Because I had long hair at the time. I was like, okay. She cut it in an elementary school classroom. It had been my second grade classroom, as a matter of fact, with children's safety scissors, and it was ridiculously painful. But I think zippers are out, and the reason why is because it requires a protective layer of clothing underneath. You can't. That's them on their own.
Not necessarily. You're thinking I think you're thinking specifically of one type of zipper. There are lots and lots of kinds of zippers because you can go anywhere from that thick metal sort of brushed brass or whatever that look is zipper, but also like a very thin, delicate zipper that goes up the back of a dress. You know, that is a zipper that doesn't matter if there is skin next to it or not.
I guess.
And that's one of the pros, I think, of the zipper is that it can be easy to hide.
Oh, yeah. That little tiny zipper with like the little tiny.
The little teardrop zipper pull.
You up and seal, you little zipper.
I think there's so many different kinds of zippers. Mm-hmm. There's the variety of them. They're versatile. I'm just making the case for zippers right now.
But you don't think they're going to win either?
I don't know, because I think they might still be on the list for a couple of good reasons.
Okay.
They are versatile. They're durable.
Sure.
They're super secure.
Okay.
And they're waterproof. So on a coat, a good solid plastic or maybe metal, I don't know if that might rust, but like a good solid zipper on a coat, that's going to keep you dry.
Right.
But yeah, it gets stuck. Sometimes it needs repair. If you have that zipper up the back of your dress, sometimes you need a hand getting it up there. But that can be a sexy moment. You're going out, honey, help me with the zipper,
Yeah, that's true. When a zipper fails though, it's like a whole ordeal.
Oh yeah.
Like if it's the track, if it's just realigning, I think that's an easier fix. Or if the pull comes loose, you need to replace it. That's even a simpler.
Yeah, you can just use a keychain. I have on more than one occasion just pulled off a keychain and used that as a zipper pull.
Yeah. But if the teeth are coming apart after you've zipped it up, you're going to have to replace the whole thing. And that's like if you have a car and the seats need to be replaced, you can't drive that car for a while.
Yeah.
Takes the clothing out of commission. It is that and Velcro are both equally very difficult to replace.
Yeah.
So something to keep in mind.
It is something to keep in mind. I think the biggest benefit of the zipper is that it's super secure and waterproof. that is as solid as it can be.
Yeah.
There's one more I want to talk about because I think there's two big guns, and we'll save the big guns for after we take a break. But real quickly, I'd like to talk about one.
Okay.
And that's the hook and eye. The hook and eye, you and I we don't use them as often because it's most frequently for bras and women's clothing.
Right.
Because there's
Or
places
boots.
where it's more delicate and needs to be done and needs to, you want to hide the function for form's sake. And a hook and eye is good for that. Little history. First invented in the 14th century in England. The modern version first appeared in 1697 in a periodical or book or some sort of published thing called Aubrey's Brief Lives. They are small. They are inconspicuous. The downside of them is that they require tension in order to stay put. That said, there is one very specific use of the hook and eye that I know you and I both have benefited from, Hal. And that is giving an assist to the button on your dress pants when you're doing a thrilling adventure hour show.
Yeah.
Put your dress pants up. Yeah, you got that extra little, the hook and eye is there to be like, hey man, I don't want you to worry about your button popping off during this show. Your trousers aren't going to fall down, not as long as I'm here. I'm the handy little hook and eye, the assistant to the button on your pants.
It's two-factor authentication for your waist and your crotch. But it is like also that same hook and eye is like, hey, I'm here to give you backup, but don't expect me to do this whole job alone.
Yeah, I cannot do the heavy
secure that
lifting.
button, or else this is going to turn into a Three Stooges short real fast.
It's like a spare tire. Like, I'm here in case the primary blows out, but you're only going to get 50 miles out of me. So
right.
get to the service station. Don't go over 35. Get to the service station quickly.
Yeah, you want to look like Dick Van Dyke when he's making fun of the penguins and Mary Poppins, and he is mocking them. He's not trying to fit in. They just don't.
You didn't think he was trying to fit in?
No, he's sitting there. He's like, look at how you walk. I'm going to push my pants down real low and do my stupid arms out to the side like you do with your flippers.
Oh, I thought he was trying to infiltrate the penguins.
No.
Like he knew, like secretly Bert is a cop. Look, Bert's been a cop ever since It's a Wonderful Life. All Berts are cops. We know this. And one of those penguins was a criminal. And he was like, I have to infiltrate the penguins. I have to infiltrate the penguins.
Every time they spun around and their backs were to the camera, he was like, I heard someone's moving cocaine in through the icebergs. What do you know about that? Is that what raspberry ice is? Is Mary a supplier? You can tell me.
Right. We're having a jolly holiday. How jolly is this holiday?
Speaking to the cane.
All right. It's probably not the hook and eye simply because it cannot be the primary of your pants.
That's right.
I have had some pants in the past where the hook and eye was the primary. Guess what? That hook got bent out of shape pretty quick.
Yeah, it can, that thing is, unless it's made of adamantium, that thing's gonna bend.
Yeah. And once it bends, then it's just a belly blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's your pants with a scalpel.
Not only are your pants not gonna stay up anymore, but stand back. Get away from me. Don't test me.
I think it's serious, you guys. I think it's serious.
Where's that iceberg cocaine? Tell me where it is.
I don't know where the penguins are.
You're lying to me.
I'm not lying to you. Ask Bert the penguin.
He's a cop, you idiot. Anyway.
Wait, what?
You can tell he's like three penguins standing on each other's shoulders.
I thought that was an odd color combo for a penguin.
Plus he's a human.
Wait, what? Let's take a break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And when we come back, we'll talk about the two most ubiquitous types of clothing fastener. What are they? Stick around to find out, or rewind a little bit to when I gave the list.
Hello, podcast recommendation service.
Hello there, young man. I'm looking for a new podcast to listen to. Something amusing, perhaps.
Oh, what about Beef and Dairy Network?
Something surreal and satirical.
Well, I would suggest Beef and Dairy Network.
Ideally, it would be a spoof industry podcast for the beef and dairy industries.
Yes, Beef and Dairy Network.
Maybe it would have brilliant guests such as Josie Long, Heather Ann Campbell, Nick Offerman, and the actor Ted Danson.
Beef and Dairy Network.
I don't know. I think I'm going to stick to Joe Rogan.
The Beef and Dairy Network podcast is a multi-award-winning comedy podcast, and you can find it at MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Somewhere in an alternate universe where Hollywood is smarter.
And the Emmy nominees for Outstanding Comedy Series are Jetpackula, Airport Marriott, Thruple, Dear America, We've Seen You Naked, and Allah in the Family.
In our stupid universe, you can't see any of these shows, but you can listen to them on Dead Pilot Society, the podcast that brings you hilarious comedy pilots that the networks and streamers bought but never made. Journey to the alternate television universe of Dead Pilot Society on MaximumFun.org.
All right, we're back.
All right. You want to talk buttons or snaps first, Hal? I can't hear that.
They were snaps.
Let's talk snaps. Invented in 1885 in Germany. There's multiple types. They can either be sewn on, those are 2-piece snaps, or riveted on, those are 4-piece snaps.
Mm-hmm.
You can have metal versions. You can have plastic versions. They're easy to hide. They're durable. What's your relationship to the humble snap, Hal Lublin?
The concept of a snap is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
However,
yeah,
I'm going to give you 2 things that I think happen very often with snaps.
Okay.
Which is the hole is too tight. So it becomes this, like you're trying to put 2 magnets of the same pole together and they just keep slipping apart.
What do you mean the hole is too
tight?
Like
sliding around, like the button's got a little pegger. The pegger goes in the hole.
Yes.
And then the hole has 2 like almost sprung pieces of metal that provide resistance when it's in there.
Yes, these are the stud and the cap, the stud being the male piece, the cap being the female piece.
So sometimes the cap is a little too narrow. Like it's made to like, once you get it in there, it's very hard to get it to fasten and then even harder to get it apart, which is good for the hold and bad when you're ready to take it, whatever it is, off. The other bad thing is,
hold on a second. It's
designed. I find this to be the case often. This isn't
each
like
cap is designed for its stud, and each stud is designed for its cap. It's not. This is not a flaw in the manufacture of it. It's designed to be
temperature changes. These is metal for the most part, so it is susceptible to expansion and contraction due to temperature.
Okay.
Other times, and also when it wears out, you might as well just throw out the pants or throw out the shirt.
See, I don't know if a snap wears out all that easy. I know it can tarnish and it can rust.
No, it like wears and then it doesn't hold as well. This can happen.
Just from like the tension between the 2 different between the cap and the stud.
And sometimes it doesn't quite fit as well. Like it's just some of it's manufacturer error, I'm sure. But I feel like I've seen this too often where I get a snap and I'm excited, like, all right, I can't wait to put this together. And I'm sitting there like sliding it. And I feel like I'm I'm a NASA chimp trying to put the right piece in the right size hole and just like smacking the star into the triangle hole. It's a real problem. Maybe what we're learning here is that I'm bad at putting on clothes.
You might be bad at putting on clothes because look, here's the thing that, and I will say I will use part of, your argument against snaps as an argument for snaps. And that is when it does work, when you find the right connection, especially on one where it's a little bit difficult, unlike a button, but similar to a zipper, there is a satisfaction in both the feel and the sound of knowing that it's secure. You get that snap together. You know that it's been secured.
Right.
I'm a snap enthusiast. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I love a snap. It's funny. I had lunch with a friend of mine, Amy Parker, the other day. And
show off.
Listen, I don't want to brag. You know Amy Parker as well, Hal. You show off. Stop showing on. And I mentioned that we were going to be doing this topic. And the first thing she said was, I said, yeah, I think we're going to do clothing fasteners as the topic. And she went, oh, snaps, tearaway pants.
I do love a tearaway pant.
Right? And the ease of removal of snaps, it can be easy.
Yeah.
It can be difficult. It depends on, if it's a sturdy snap on a coat, like a riveted on snap that's real, that's designed to hold together. It's going to be a little more difficult to open up. The snaps on tearaway pants, whether you're a basketball player or a stripper, the snaps on your tearaway pants are going to be a little bit easier to pull off.
Sometimes.
I highly recommend you go to that internet video of the guy who tried to rip his tearaway pants off and wound up pulling his own legs out from underneath himself.
Yeah, that's
Delightful.
the thing. It doesn't always, even basketball players, you can see them. They wear tearaway pants all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they put them on when they're sitting on the bench and then they'll take them off to go back into the game. And it's never like pulling it off and they've had practice with it. It's like get a section, then get a section, and then you're trying to get it. And this one part's not quite going. So there is I feel like the fantasy of the snap doesn't always hold up to the reality of it, but it is a very useful clothing fastener. To me, it would be a finalist.
I think this is definitely a finalist for one other reason that you and I do not have as in-depth knowledge of as many of the people of the world do. And that is kids. In a lot of the research that I've been doing, it's a lot of people talking about how much easier snaps are when you have kids to get them both dressed at the beginning of the day and undressed when it's time to change clothes.
For sure.
Snaps are the easiest to use. They're the fastest to get them in and out of.
Yeah.
So it's easy to learn too as a kid.
Yeah.
How to snap your jacket rather than to button your jacket.
But then you graduate.
I never graduated to
Then you
buttons.
graduate to toggles and you feel like Paddington.
Ooh, toggles.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking?
Piece. It's similar to a hook and eye,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat like in concept, but you got the wooden piece that you turn sideways, goes through the loop, and then you turn it again.
Yeah.
That ain't going anywhere.
I do like a toggle.
And I do believe that Paddington's jacket is, that those are toggles holding it together and not buttons.
Yeah. It's similar to a frog closure, which is the same thing, just made out of,
For marching
cloth.
bands.
Yes, exactly.
And nudie suits.
So that is the snap. Should we move on to the button?
I mean, is there anything other than the button left to go?
We do have a few of the honorable mentions. If you'd like to
run through the in memoriam then. And then we can get the buttons.
The in memoriam. We don't know that it's an
laces?
in memoriam. I didn't have laces on there, but sure.
How are you gonna keep a bodice together?
Yeah, man. Look, the corset that I'm wearing right now is held together with hook and eye, so I don't have to worry about it.
Some of them are laced up.
Yeah, that's true. Laces. What else do you have on your list? Because I know you've also got a few that I might not have mentioned yet. I have three. I have four on the honorable mentions list. One of them that may have some contender in it definitely has a long history.
The buckle.
The buckle, first introduced in ancient Rome for military use.
Sure.
Which is why iron and bronze buckles were considered spoils of war, became fashionable in 5th century Europe. And in the 16th century, sailors first started using it to hold up their pants, using belts and buckles instead of just rope belts like Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, the buckle's a classic. I also have pins, straight pins and safety pins, magnets, and cufflinks.
Now, cufflinks are adornments.
They're still a fastener. They only do one thing.
And then you also have that version for tuxedos too, the studs that you use.
Oh yeah, the little shirt studs.
Buttons.
Those seem like such specific types. I think I would call a stud a button. It's just a double button. It's a button on both sides.
You could also call it a cuff. Then that's what a cufflink is.
I guess, yeah, that's true. Can I say this about magnets and why they might be the absolute worst?
Please.
If you have a coat that is held closed with magnets, the magnets have to be really strong in order to close that coat. And guess what? Your pacemaker's going to stop working. Only one of these closures can kill you, Hal.
Yeah.
Just by doing its regular job.
The silent killer.
That's magnets. Right. Magnets on people who have pacemakers.
Mm-hmm.
What else did you have on your list? Did you have any more?
No, that's it. I don't think buckles either. I mean, buckles are more of an adornment now. I mean, if you have a belt, obviously, but then the belt itself is the fastener and the buckle is the closure for the belt. So the buckle holds the belt holds the pants up.
Yeah. Were you ever a cool belt buckle guy?
Not really.
No, I have a couple. I do have one that is my favorite. South. I am from the South.
You're from
it feels like more of a Texas thing.
Yeah.
But I did find a really cool belt buckle at a flea market once. It's a big brass oval belt buckle with a relief of a Model T Ford on it. I was like, oh, this is right up my alley.
The other thing I'll say, and this might fall into lacing, is the drawstring. I'm pulling my pants up. I'm wearing shorts right now. I have shorts that are button and zipper, and these are just like elastic band shorts. They're a nice linen short, but they have a drawstring that allow me to cinch them up, because otherwise, if I put stuff in my pocket, these shorts will fall down.
Does that make these hybrid shorts? Are they the kind that like you can wear a swimsuit or shorts?
No, these are linen. You wouldn't wear these in the pool.
The ones that you don't wear linen in a pool. The shorts that I have that have both. I have one that's got 3. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's got a button, a hook and eye assistant, and drawstring. Yeah.
Wow. I have,
it has a Velcro pocket.
My God.
Holy moly. These shorts are all kinds of stuff.
I have a pair of shorts with button and zipper. They're cargo. And then the cargo flaps are snaps.
Which is the most satisfying to open and close of the elements of those shorts.
I do like that the snaps stay shut. That is true.
I'm team snaps at this point, Hal, but we haven't talked about buttons yet. I'm currently team snaps.
The snaps win on those shorts. All right, you want to talk about buttons?
All right, let's talk about buttons.
Why snaps over buttons?
For all of the mentioned reasons.
Throw that history in the garbage for a second. I want to hear from your heart.
Yeah.
And you can talk. I know
snaps are easier. Snaps are easier than buttons. They are more durable than buttons. It's very rare to have a snap fall off. I've never had a snap like the thread get loose and it fall off. Break.
I've had one of those like collar buttons, like that keep the corner of your collar down. And that button is like broken, but it's still sewn on. So it's just like in pieces.
Yeah.
These fragments.
Yeah. You have like
literally held together by a thread.
Yeah. Like it's doing the moon cycle. One side it's a full moon and the other side it's just a crescent.
And I hate it.
Yeah. I think that the ease and the speed of snaps. Yeah. If I could have snaps on everything, I would have snaps on everything.
I think you're right. I think snaps are the winner, but I want you to read. I know you worked hard researching buttons and you're going to be upset. And when we have lunch on Friday, you're going to be like, I should have been able to talk about buttons, even though.
Let me talk about buttons. Well, I will tell you.
Talk about buttons.
I will tell you.
Argue against yourself, Mark.
I'm not arguing against myself. I'm just pointing out a very fun, cool thing about buttons that I came across. The button was invented in the Mohenjo-Daro settlement of the Indus Valley in 2500 BC. And it was a decorative adornment. It took 3,700 years before the buttonhole was invented. Buttons were purely decorative in the 1200s. Buttons were purely decorative for 3,700 years. And in 3,700 years, no one went, hey, why don't we cut a slit on the other side and use these to put our clothes together? How did it take 3,700 years, Hal?
We're creatures of habit.
My gosh. Though when they did finally invent the buttonhole, it dramatically changed fashion because instead of just kind of pulling something over you or draping something around you, for the first time, clothes could move closer to the body. And once clothes could move closer to the body, then it was full steam ahead for all kinds of different fashion. And everything can be traced back to the invention of the buttonhole in the 1200s. An invention, a little hole, a little slit of cloth that took 3,700 years to invent, Hal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brought us so much.
One benefit of the button, though, over the snap, if you lose a snap on something, gone forever.
Yeah.
If you lose a button, you can sew one back on.
Yeah. Unless it's like a rivet, like jeans.
Right.
Like jeans buttons.
Right.
And a lot of times, jeans buttons that are riveted in can also be snaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are a million different kinds of buttons. The diversity of buttons is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cloth buttons. There's
flat.
half, what's it called? Half and whole dome or half sphere, whole sphere.
Uh-huh.
A little hook on the bottom. But yeah, it requires more dexterity than a snap. Takes longer to take on and off. You ever try to do a quick change of a shirt with actual buttons down the front?
No. Have you seen that production of Frozen where they're doing Let It Go and the woman who plays Elsa's singing and she gets to the past is in the past and like they're supposed to pull the dress off and it gets caught and then she gets jerked back into the scrim.
No. I just remember in the version that was at the Hyperion Theater at Disneyland, that dress was always hidden inside the first part of the show dress before she makes that big transformation.
Yeah.
But it's hidden in there the whole time up her back. So she looks like a linebacker for the first third of the play. You're like, holy cow, the shoulders on this queen.
What is the name of, what is it? It's not Rivendell. It's
Arendelle.
Arendelle.
Yeah. Linebacker for the
Arendelle University. Go Icicles. Linebacker. Middle linebacker. Me and Anna are going to do a Mike Will blitz. on two break.
Man, did you see Elsa take that guy out last night?
She's juicing. You can tell her shoulders are getting bigger.
Yeah. Prove that your shoulders aren't getting bigger because of steroids.
And I think she's on iceberg cocaine.
Wait, from those penguins?
Who do you think's the real supplier?
I don't know. Listen, Bert, get in here. We have another mission for you.
All righty, Roo. I'm definitely real English, I am.
Your Cockney is way better than the Australian I did earlier when I was trying to do Bert.
You think, you wink, you do a double blink. That's when they make him do the cocaine. He puts it up to his nose and he goes because he's got to prove like a cop would not do the cocaine.
Yeah,
but he's like the Serpico of penguin cocaine.
I don't know why the penguins don't just ask him, because everyone knows the rule is if you're a cop, you have to tell me.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They're too busy smacking each other around and sliding. When they do it, they go. That's what's going on in their brains. Yeah. They're emulating. They're showing you what it's like. They want to be caught.
Yeah. Mr. Police Bert, I gave you all the clues.
All the clues are here. By the way, people of the world, it snaps, asked and answered.
Yeah.
In there. We have more important legal matters to discuss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got to be snaps. It snaps.
It snaps. Snaps.
Now, you know what I miss now? What? I miss my cool Western shirt that had snaps on it instead of buttons.
Yeah. Well, you can go get another one. There are a million of them in vintage shops all
That's
around.
True. They're so thin. They're so thin.
Yeah, they're not good shirts.
No, but they're good cool patterns and they have good snaps.
Oddly, they're worth wearing open over another shirt.
Yeah.
Making the snaps.
Do you know how easy it is to open them and shut them over that shirt?
It's a snap.
It's the snap, asked and answered. Well, this topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss. So please reach out to us via email at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or
follow us on all social media at We Got This Podcast, with the exception of Instagram, where we are at We Got This Show. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks, of course, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, the people of the world, who give us an opportunity to do this every week, week in and week out. Hal and I are permanently attached to one another thanks to you, whether it is by button, snap, hook and eye, probably not magnet because one of us may need a pacemaker eventually, zipper, whatever it is. It's all thanks to you. And we cannot thank you enough for all the support that you give to the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin, and don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows supported
directly
by you.